afternoon, Broward College. Welcome to our first of two demos for our new curriculum management system that we will be implementing very soon. And we thought that this would be a perfect opportunity for the college community to get a look at the software and to see what it offers for an improved experience for our users for curriculum management from courses to programs. And so with us today, we have one of the experts from our vendor from Courseleaf. And I just wanted to let you know that she's going to give us an overview of a demo. We do have training sessions and workshops that will get more in depth, but this one for today is really just to give you a little taste of what the system has to offer. So Shari will be the presenter, and my team and I, we will go ahead and vet any questions in the chat. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to drop them there. If we can't answer you right then and there, we'll get back to you. What I do ask is that if you please make sure you mute yourself so that we don't get any feedback. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So as I said, Shari Friedman, she is actually from Leepfrog. Well, that's the parent company, but our product is through Courseleaf, and she has over 30 years of experience with finding solutions to business processing, and she's been with Courseleaf since 2012. She's gone from a senior account executive to a senior management on the client success team in 2021. And I share all of this because, Shari, we have a very long getting to know your relationship. We've been working to get Courseleaf since what, 2014?
A very long time.
A very long time. And so I just wanted to let you know that, we're working with a vendor who's very interested in our feedback and interested in building customer relationships. And so you'll be able to see that today as Shari walks us through Courseleaf. Kim, we'll call it Kim, not Sim, but Kim, a hard C, Kim for courses. So go ahead and take it away, Shari.
Great. Thank you, Karen, for giving me the opportunity to present with your team. I'm waving right now, but I'm going to turn off my camera in case we have some connectivity issues. I do want to thank everyone for joining the session today, which, as Karen mentioned, is really an introduction, if you will, to Courseleaf CIM. It's a little taste. And we definitely truly value our partnership with Broward. What I have planned today is a handful of PowerPoint slides, and then we're going to go into the live software and give you a walkthrough from a user perspective. Our agenda will be talking a little bit about the existing partnership. I'll spend a bit of time talking about the success of the catalog project from 2021. And then we'll spend most of the time in CIM phase 2, and this is part 1, courses, and there's a second part to this presentation for programs tomorrow. And Karen will field questions and raise them as we go along. Now, some of you might know who we are, but we've been in business for a very long time, over 30 years. We sometimes get confused with the Leepfrog company, but we're totally different. We have 150 staff members, and our client base has grown to exceed over 500. We're in 8 countries. We work with small, medium, large, extra large, college, universities in varying levels of complexity. And we have completed over 850 implementations. So there's a lot of experience, but we also get a lot of experience working with institutions like Broward. Our customer service is now 24/7. And we have a robust user community, both online and in person, once a year. Our solution is called Courseleaf, and it's comprised of 5 modules that really focus on some of the most critical business functions. What we're here today to talk about is CIM, and this is everything to do with curriculum. Right now, we're focusing on courses. CAT, which is publishing the college and academic catalog. CLASS, which focuses on scheduling the right sections. PATH assists in search through registration, and SIL, which is a syllabi management tool. Each of these modules can be implemented independent of one another. However, when you implement more than one module, you gain a variety of different efficiencies in integration and accuracy, easier to learn tools that have similar interfaces, and so forth. So that's our company and a high-level overview of our software solution. Let's talk a little bit about the success of the catalog project. This was really a transformation project, bringing the college catalog online in not only a web format, but mobile friendly, as well as PDFs, satisfying VA compliance, accessibility, and really focusing on not only your existing students with the historical record, but potentially future students, or really anyone that advises students. Additional features include a really great exploration tool, your degree finder, and then once you've located a particular degree of interest, clearly articulating the courses required for success for a particular certificate or even a degree, including things like prerequisites, all right at your fingertips. Now, this project was a heavy lift, bringing it online into a centralized repository, if you will, that serves as the historical record for students. And on the back end, it really streamlined the process for updating this content year after year. Now, that same kind of philosophy is what we're here today to talk about, which is CIM. The Broward Curriculum Services team really did a great job of transforming all the different complexities with curriculum development into what we're showing today is an online, intuitive, and much easier process for all of you on the line to search, add, edit, and delete courses. Now, this is the actual screenshot of your software, and I'll get into some of the specifics of this during the demonstration. But I did want to talk about what I refer to as 3 really standout curriculum features that will make all of you very happy. The first is this idea of intuitive forms that are designed specifically for the Broward governance process and pre-populated with information. So right from the beginning, you're in a very good place to make a change. Number 2, this idea of an intelligent workflow, of making sure that the right people are involved in the curriculum review at the right time without having to guess about it. It's all automated. And lastly, this idea of advanced integration, which ties into ensuring that course information remains accurate long-term. Now, let's take a look from a visual perspective of, you already have the catalog solution at the bottom, and there's already a process in place. How does CIM courses fit into this really good idea of integrating curriculum with catalog production? Those involved in able to make a proposal for a course will either change something that's existing or introduce something that's brand new. It will then follow the defined workflow for the type of proposal that it is, keeping track of all of the changes along the way. And then when it's approved at the final approval, everything has an effective date. That effective date and the additions or the changes would then be added into your student information system. It's really important that curriculum development follows the right governance process, because that means your student information system is updated correctly, which downstream plays a really important role in ensuring that the course information that's displaying in your college catalog is accurate for your students, since the catalog serves as the historical record. This integration ensures that what is improved in CIM gets updated in your student information system, and you can be very confident that the information in your catalog is also accurate as well. Tomorrow, we'll talk about how this process works for programs. Now, the right software not only makes life easier for those of you on the line, but it really can drive positive student outcomes. I'm going to shift into the demonstration of the live software. And then my hope is that you are all really excited to learn more about CIM. And I know Karen and her team have a variety of different workshops scheduled. So you can sign up for those and learn more about how you can get started in CIM. It'll give me a moment just to change my sharing of the screen, but I'm going to do so over here. Okay, can you see this okay now, Karen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Here we are at what we call the course inventory management. This is the central dashboard that I mentioned, where we're going to go ahead and pre-populate this dashboard with the current state of all of your courses. And you have the opportunity to do a few things here. You can search, you can edit, you can add, or you can delete. And there are clear action buttons that tell you what you can do along the way. Delete, search, propose new, or delete. You'll also notice that you can use wildcards if, let's say, hey, I wanted to look for all of the courses that are GEB as an example. Across the screen here, you'll also notice that we're identifying if it's in workflow or what the current status is. And as you start to use CIM quite a bit, you can filter it on a variety of different things, like show me all the courses that are edited or that have been added or deleted and so forth. I'm going to scroll down, and what we're going to show next is the current state of introduction to business. I mentioned that it's very easy to edit the course, but while you're here, you could also preview the workflow if you wanted to. I mentioned you can delete the course, but we're also displaying what we already know about this course. And one of the added features within CIM is this idea of an ecosystem. Right up front, we're saying, if you make a change to introduction to business, we're also going to show you the downstream impact of where that course appears in all these areas of the catalog, and these are all different degrees, as well as where it's referenced, the programs referencing this particular course. This really fosters transparency and cross-collaboration across departments, because you already know this. There are different ways to include related departments in a workflow as an FYI, so everyone stays well informed. But let's pretend now that we are going to edit this course. All I have to do is click this green button, and it'll now bring up the live version of this course. At first glance, you're going to see the information is all pre-populated like I showed you previously, but I did want to highlight a couple of things that might be new from a visual perspective. You'll see that certain questions have a red box around them, and that indicates that these are mandatory fields, which says you wouldn't even be able to submit the proposal unless all the mandatory fields are complete, which makes it so much easier to getting it right the first time. You'll also see these little arrows where your selection of answers might be pre-populated for you, and you get to pick from a list to make it easier, so you're picking one of the correct options moving down. You'll also notice that while I scroll down, I might get to a section of the form that might dynamically adjust based upon the type of proposal that I am submitting. Let's pretend that I am going to add a prerequisite. By selecting yes, the form will dynamically adjust to say, proposer, now I need some additional information from you, and you can go ahead and fill that out. If you weren't sure of how to fill that out, you could click on this little help bubble and it'll give you some additional insights. And training will go through all of the nuances of your Broward specific form in more detail as well. But the form should help prompt and encourage information in an accurate format. We've done something unique for you all with learning outcomes. We're going to auto number them, and then in training, you'll find out more about how to make changes to it, delete them, or even change the order of those learning outcomes. I can scroll down and you can see all the questions that are really important for accreditation to capture as part of that historical record. And there might even be text boxes that allow you to submit your own information in your own way, as the example here illustrates for the rationale for the request. When you're done, you have two options. You can save and come back to it. Maybe you're not done. Maybe you want to give it some extra thought, or you could submit it into workflow. And that means my proposal is done. I'm going to click the workflow. And at that point in time, we are going to identify the type of proposal that it is, and then follow the Broward governance process, which means whoever's next in the workflow process will get an email notification with a link routing them back to this proposal. And I'll get to that in two more examples of how that will look like. So the example here is how we searched for something and how we started to edit. The next example I wanted to show you is, what do things look like when you've edited them? It's really helpful to understand who made what change and when in the process, so you can make informed decisions. I'm moving over to another example called business communication. And what you're going to see right now is it currently is in workflow and it's been edited. If I scroll down, I could see exactly what changes have been made. I can see that communication was missing an N, and I added an N. On the right-hand side, you could also see where it is in the workflow and approval process. And I want everyone to pay attention to the step that this is at, which is BADM faculty, right? There are some other changes that were made. I added a prerequisite and so forth. As a proposer, what's nice, we talked about this idea of transparency. I could search for something and create a proposal in the first example. And in the second example, let's pretend I was the person who submitted this proposal. I no longer have to email anyone, call anyone to say, hey, I submitted a proposal for business communications. Where is it? Kim provides all of that transparency for you. You could go to the dashboard, look up this proposal, and you could see exactly where it is in that workflow process. Now let's pretend I participate as this role. When the change was submitted, I get an email notification, and it would bring me over to what we refer to as our approval screen. For those of you on the line, you might have one proposal in here, or you might have multiple proposals in here. You can filter based upon the type of role that you are provisioned in. I'm going to scroll down, and you're going to see that exact same proposal. But what you'll notice here is my view is very different now. On the right-hand corner, I have 3 action buttons. If this looks good to me, I could hit approve. I'm done. It moves out of my queue and on to the next step in the process below. I could also roll back if I wanted to, or I could go in and make an edit. As this progresses through the workflow, there'll be other participants who might contribute to the editing process. So you can filter based upon who made what change, or I can hit hide change and see a clean copy of this for review before I either approve, roll back, or edit. As you move things out of your queue, they automatically, through the workflow, automated workflow and approval process, it progresses to the next step in the workflow process until everything in your queue is cleared and you're done. So what we talked about so far is this idea of utilizing a central dashboard for searching, editing, adding, deleting courses, the ability to check in on proposals that you may have submitted to find out where they are in the approval process. And we talked about how users that are provisioned may interact with proposals in the approval queue. Karen, are there any questions that have come in so far about anything that I've shown or anything else that you wanted me to also cover?
Right now, the questions are more around the logistics of training and the access of the course, so we're good to go.
Okay, wonderful. The other thing I wanted to share is that there are different types of users in CIM. There are users that are provisioned in a way where they can edit, where they can propose. There might be those provisioned that might get an FYI notification, or maybe even approve only or participate in voting. Those are all controlled by the Broward Courseleaf administrators to ensure the right people are involved in the right capacity at the right time to ensure the appropriate governance is followed. I hope in summary, this shows you how easy doing something really hard will be when it comes to making changes to course management. There are some similarities that you'll learn about tomorrow as it relates to programs, but there are also some big differences as well. If there aren't any questions, I'm guessing we can wrap up for today. Karen?
No, there is a question.
Great.
One of the questions is, can anyone edit proposals anytime? What if there are disagreements?
That's a great question. What we have within CIM is the ability to include whoever you'd like in that review process. And then, and I'm just going to go into your form for a moment here too, because there's a couple of things that you can do for what I'm going to call collaboration, right? We talked about the ability to roll something back to a previous step. That's one way to say, I'm not so sure, maybe provide a little more information about your rationale. You'll also notice that at the, oh wait, not on here. You'll also notice that there are places where you can add a comment. If, for example, one of the steps in the workflow process might be a committee, and there are lots of people who can act upon that committee, there could be a variety of different comments going back and forth. And then depending upon how you set up workflow, like you might determine that the chair of that committee will then take into account all the feedback that was provided, have a conversation with the committee, and then make a decision on how to move forward and advance the proposal. So there are lots of ways to what I would call comment and or collaborate via different team members provisioned in a role, in a workflow step, by utilizing comments, rollbacks, and identifying a particular chair to kind of spearhead that final decision making.
And I can
Was
add
that,
to
was that, yeah.
Yeah, I can add to that. If you can scroll down just a little bit so we can see the workflow. So as you know, with our current curriculum management system, when there have been courses initiated and the department had questions or comments they wanted to add, they weren't able to do that. And I know that in a previous system that we had, there was that ability to collaborate. And so throughout the years, there has been a call to be able to reinstitute the way for departments to be able to collaborate. So if you notice in the workflow, the faculty member still proposes it, and it still will go to the faculty, the department, or the discipline for that typical 8-day hold, where everybody, not just one person as it currently is, everybody will then have an opportunity to make a comment on what's being said, what's being proposed. Ideally, what will happen is that if there is a large form of disagreement, then it's up to that discipline to call a meeting, work with your associate dean so that you can then discuss this disagreement, because that is something that really should be handled internally within a discipline before it gets to curriculum committee. You'll also notice that if you look at the workflow, it goes to the faculty during that first step for that 8-day hold. But what we've also implemented in this current system is we've given you the ability within a discipline to say, yes, I agree with this proposal, or no, I don't agree with it. So you have voting, which does not stop the process. It just allows you to be able to voice your opinion on the updates. And I think that that's a good addition because it can codify the support or it can codify the non-support of a proposal that's being made. Again, this does not stop the process. This is just another piece of information for context. Then after it goes with the faculty, it's going to go to the proposer so they can review those comments, because I've heard that that's one of the things that was really missing from our current process is that, oh, well, John Doe said XYZ and I really want to implement that change. And so what faculty had to do, they had to reach out to our area. We had to send it back, and then they had to make that change. So you can see that if there are those disagreements or there is that more information that's needed, the proposer now has that opportunity to incorporate whatever that advice is. So even though it says CL admin S Friedman, it would have the person's name. And then it goes to the associate dean, the dean, and then it comes to curriculum services so that we can review and make sure everything is right. And then it goes on to the curriculum committee for that time. So I hope that answers your question, Ed. And let me know if it doesn't. And I'll look. Didn't mean to hit the mute. Okay. Choice of campuses not in the red box mandatory. What is upcoming policy for this? Do we still list all campuses or do we get more specific moving forward? So we do not require the location for Kim because this is, so let's be clear, this is the curriculum management system. This is not our student information system that restricts or it adds courses to be scheduled on a particular campus. As we go through and we work through getting a new student information system, if we find that there is a need to require that information, then we can work with Courseleaf to add it, but we really didn't want to give our users one other required step that they had to fill because they may not know. So that's why we did not make location required, but you definitely can add it if you wanted to.
And Karen, you're absolutely right that if there are additional needs that change over time, you can work closely with support with Kim as you do today with Kat as well to make those changes.
And Julie is asking, could we have access to multiple disciplines? So it all depends on, and what we're going to do, similar to how we currently have it, we're going to have security roles. So if you are a faculty member and you are credentialed to teach in humanities and English and marketing, based on your FCF, we will be able to provision you to have access to those courses, those disciplines, for editing purposes. And so one thing that we're hoping that we've also done is that we've localized, or we've drilled down a bit more to what faculty have access to. So for instance, I know sometimes in a particular discipline, we would get comments that say, hey, I don't teach that, or that's not my area, because we had one big umbrella for an entire department. Now we've had the opportunity to break it down a little bit more by discipline so that we can get that specialized instruction, that specialized attention. So it all depends on your security role, what you're credentialed for as a faculty member. For an associate dean, it depends on which departments you're over. We put you in those security roles. And so we're currently working on that. There may be some snags with it, but that's nothing we can't handle with a help desk ticket. And then Daniela asked, how long does the course go back to its originator between faculty and AD? It goes, and you're meaning for once it's gone through the 8-day hold, and then it goes back to the initiator. If the initiator makes any changes or decides they don't like it, it goes immediately to the associate dean. We don't have a hold on that part. And because we want to make sure that the course continues to work through the process without it being held up. Now, rest assured, as Shari said, faculty at any time can see where it is and what changes have been made. So that's how we've handled that. Don't apologize about having questions. This is what we're here for. And then, of course, we can get into more details with the workshops, but I think these are good overall questions. If a course is only offered on one campus, do we list only that one? You absolutely can. You can, because remember, this is a curriculum management tool, and the information that we take from Kim is what we put in SID. And remember, right now in SID, from the Curriculum Services Office, we don't limit what campuses you teach on. We don't even put that information in SID. And that's why it's optional right now until we see a need to add it to the our new SIS. Right. Yeah, the curriculum management doesn't manage the campuses. The student information system and scheduling manages the campuses that way. I'm waiting to see if there are any other questions. So I just wanted to let you know that because we hosted this in Teams, that means this chat is available. And so if you have questions and you want to drop them in the chat, please feel free to do so. We'll check it periodically. And if you don't want to get any of those notifications for the chat messages, you can always leave this chat, but it will be here in Teams for you to be able to ask questions. Shari, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we close out?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone. I thought the questions were good as well. I appreciate you giving some of the Broward specific process nuance, Karen, because I really don't have that. So I appreciate that. With regards to some of the questions on Kim, the way I like to think of Kim is it's about the course. And when we have another module that we call class, and that's really about section level, which then focuses a little more on some of the locations about when that class will be offered at when. So Kim just focuses at that course level. So who's going to sign up for the training workshops now? Everyone excited?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, thank you, Shari, for this. And I just want to let you know, I dropped the link to the Curriculum Services website that lets you know the dates of our workshops. The November workshops are not available, and so we are going to add about 3 dates in December for those of you who are ready to go. But you'll see we have a whole, we offered the workshops all the way up until March. Because then, of course, at that point, we can determine how many more workshops we need then, because it's all in the curriculum cycle. But I please want to encourage you that there are 3 different types of workshops right now. There is CIM for courses, CIM for programs, and CIM for the 5-year review. We do not cover all 3 of those in one session because we think it would be a little bit overwhelming. So we encourage everyone at minimum, please sign up for CIM courses. And then once you've taken CIM courses, sign up for CIM programs, because it will be a bit difficult to grasp and to get the most out of the workshop if you only sign up for CIM programs, because we are not going to have enough time to review CIM courses. So for my program managers out there, sign up for CIM courses first and then sign up for CIM programs. And for my folks who know they're going to be doing the 5-year course reviews, please sign up for that, because that's also a little bit different theory behind those courses. So please go ahead and sign up. And the question is, for those trainings, will the dates be made available? Will an email go out about that? And if I'm not mistaken, CTEL usually sends out an email with all of the trainings. But because we have this chat, when we've created the new workshops in December, I'll post that information in this chat here to give all 28 of you a head start on that. If there are no other questions, I again thank Shari from Leepfrog.
Thank you.
Not the Leepfrog learning technology, but Leepfrog. And I look forward to working with all of you, and thank you so much. And again, this recording will be available for further review and for you to share. Please go ahead and have a great day. Stay dry out there, Shari. It's like a tsunami here. It's been raining since yesterday. So
oh boy.
we all want to have a great day. So thank you, everyone, and have an awesome day.
Thank you, Karen. Bye-bye.